Jesus. As you've probably seen from the title of this video, we're going to be going through Can't Stop by the Red Hot Chili Peppers today. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to assume you do already know the notes themselves because there are thousands of tabs out there where you can learn the notes. What I want to go through today is how to play it with the right intensity, you know, the way that John Frusciante plays it, because that is what seems to trip most people up with this riff. There's basically 4 parts to this riff, and I'm going to go through which fingers I use to play which note in order to be able to mute the rest of the strings to be able to play with that right intensity, the correct intensity. So part 1 is this. I'm basically playing index finger on the 7th fret A string, middle finger on the 3rd string, 7th fret, so both on the same fret, different strings, those 2 notes. And then pinky on the 9th fret of the 3rd string as well. Okay, so to play correctly, practice each of these notes, practice strumming all 6 strings and only hearing the note that you want to hear. So for the first note, it's obviously going to be this E on the 7th fret. Have these 2 fingers ready, kind of covering the 3rd string, but without actually fretting the notes, otherwise you'll hear it when you strum. You don't want to hear that when you only want this note. So at the very start, lift these 2 fingers off ever so slightly so that they're touching the string, so it will mute it, but so that you're not actually fretting the note so it doesn't ring out. So first note, you should be able to strum all 6 of the strings and only hear that note. And literally just sit there, practice, strum up and down, up and down, up and down, 16th notes. And if you hear other strings, just try and listen out for which string it is and just make tiny little adjustments with your fingers and try and mute the strings that you can hear. You should only be able to hear that one string. So for example, I heard this. It's because I'm pressing down a little bit too hard with this pinky and that note's also ringing out. So lift that up a tiny little bit so it's touching the string but not fretting down on the fret itself. And then do it again for the 2nd note, which is that one, 7th fret on the 3rd string. And then again on the 3rd note, which is the pinky on the 9th fret, 3rd string. And once you can do that with any note, with any finger, on any string, at will, you will be able to play this riff perfectly. So we'll go on to the 2nd part, which is that it starts with an open D. So for this one, I mute the 6th and 5th strings with my thumb over the top here. And then the open D is allowed to ring out, because that's a note we want. And then I mute the remaining 3 strings, strings 3, 2 and 1, with the index finger. So you've got mute, mute, open, mute, mute, mute. So if you were to strum all 6 strings, you can only hear that one note. The next part is pretty much exactly the same as the first, only this time we're using the index finger to play that 7th fret G string, and then the pinky again to play the 9th fret. So that finger comes down at the exact moment I want to hear the note. Watch this finger. And the same with that one. After this it's really easy because this hand doesn't move again at all. So now, instead of this thumb muting strings 6 and 5, it's going to actually fret string 6 on the 7th fret to get that note, because that's the next note we need first. Try and extend it right over so that you can use the tip of your thumb to mute that 5th string, because you don't want to hear that. And these two fingers do exactly the same thing they did last time. And then the next part's really easy. The thumb just comes up 1 fret to the C, or the 8th fret of the 6th string. And again, the tip of the thumb is muting the 5th string. The tip of this finger is muting the D string. And then underneath this finger, the first finger seems to do a lot of the work in this song, a lot of the muting work. So really work on getting that first finger positioned so that you're only hearing the note you want. And this first finger right now is actually muting 3 strings and fretting a string as well. So it's muting the 4th string, the D string. It's playing the G string on the 7th fret. It's muting the B string. And it's muting the E string. So it's a lot of work just for that index finger there. And the thumb is obviously playing that C. So that's basically it, to be honest. The main thing about it is to keep that 16th note strumming pattern going the whole way through, even if you're not striking the strings on every single strum. You still want to have that movement going throughout the whole thing. If you don't, it'll kind of throw your timing off a bit. If you can get into the habit of even just, you know, tapping along your foot. It's a really good way to practice getting that right hand technique solid. Just tap along your foot, strum along with your foot. Don't just do 16th notes all the time. Try and do, you know, variations like. Combinations of upstrokes, downstrokes, you know, everything in between. So the chorus comes in after the riff, you know, obviously is played a few times through while Anthony sings. And then the chorus, you actually play a C major 7, and it's played like this. So you've got the C in the bass, 8th fret of the 6th string, which is convenient because that would have been what you were going to play anyway, because it's the 4th part of the riff, so your thumb would have been there anyway. And instead, you play this, which is 10th fret on the D string, played with the pinky, 9th fret, played on the G string with the ring finger, 8th fret on the B string with the middle finger, and 7th fret on the E string with the first finger, index finger, which is a C major 7. Can also be played like that, but that's not how he does it. He does it like this, and he goes, he plays this kind of just a arpeggio strings, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. And then the chorus, G major, not conventionally played like a bar, but instead played with thumb in the bass, because that's John Frusciante's style. And then you've got the major triad. And then he goes to D major, normal bar chord. And then he goes to this B minor shape, again, thumb in the bass. And then back to the first chord, the C major 7. And the strumming is just kind of, you know, a general funky kind of. And then, the very last time he plays it, it is still a B minor, but I also hear this note in as well, which is pinky on the 10th fret of the B string. and then back into the. I hope that was helpful. I hope it kind of ironed out some of the trickier parts of this riff. It's all about you know, being able to mute the strings you don't want to hear. That is the key to playing this riff correctly. So practice each note on their own, individually. Strum all 6 strings and you should only be able to hear 1 note per strum, essentially. I really hope you got something from this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.